Hi, I'm Gandalf Clark.
I'm Ellen Clark. And we're the Clarks.
Hey friends, so today is the day that O.J. Simpson died. So you're going to get this video a little late because of editing and whatnot. It's interesting because we live in Maryland and there was a car chase where a woman hit a bunch of cars and then just kept going. So I just wanted to mention that weird occurrence. But the reason for today's video is none of that. I am only 45 minutes away from my next meeting, and I wanted to squeeze in a video because I am fired up right now. I looked at CNN's projected 270 to win projection for who's going to be president, and right now they're projecting Trump. And I can't see how all the women in America are going to vote for that fucker. I want to share a story with you guys. And it's a story that I've been wanting to tell for a really long time. And there's been a lot of ways that I've been thinking about telling this story. But I just think it would be really good for my friends and family and, our followers and anyone else who wanted to watch this video to get a full understanding of what it's like for a person, maybe even someone they know, to have experienced something that I've experienced. Those who know me know that I am in a very happy relationship with my husband. We've been together for 1,000,000 years. We got married in 2001. So that's 23 years we've been married. And we were together for 4 years after that.
Before that.
Yeah, 4 years before that, sorry.
After that.
But, I met him when I was 18 years old. And a lot of people can be like, oh, that's just too early. But, I lived in Scotland with my family. And my stepdad had a tour there. And in Scotland, when you're 16 years old, you are treated like an adult. And I was in a few very romantic, deep relationships in my younger years. And when I was 18, I was definitely ready to meet the right person. I had been through a lot of situations. I had been engaged twice, and there were two people who I could have seen myself being with, but, I knew that living in Scotland was not the way that I wanted to continue my life. As much as I love that country, I love the people there, I just knew I had to get back to the States. I had a mission. I didn't know that part of my mission was meeting my soulmate. I love it. I love it here, but I love Scotland too. But the point of this video is none of that. The point of this video is that I want to share with you something that happened to me when I was a little girl. And I want to stress that this is when I was a little girl. So I went to school in what's considered a pretty rough area. Okay, I live in Maryland, which is considered a blue state, by the way. It's considered a Democratic state. Always has been. But we have a pretty rich tapestry of red and blue areas. The area that I lived in was Anne Arundel County, and my mom felt really safe having us live there because there were a lot of jails. And I know that sounds really weird, but it was really quiet. And in general, my brother and I felt very safe. We could walk to the bus stop, and the people in our neighborhood were all old people. In fact, in our entire area, like we lived in a trailer park, in our entire area, there were maybe 10 children. And we were, of course, all friends because that's all we had. Everyone else were old people, and So we had a lot of old people looking out windows watching us, when we were out to play. And we had a lot of yard and woods and things to keep us company. But, back in the 80s, young children like myself were latchkey children because mothers like mine had decided to leave marriages that they weren't happy with. And even though we had sort of like a mom of the neighborhood, I was responsible for my brother, who's 4 years younger than me. And it was important to my mom that I learn the skills, and it was also important to my stepmom that I learn the skills of raising a child. So as early as 9 years old, I was taking care of my brother, and then I took care of my half-brother, as he was born, and I learned how to change diapers. I learned how to do everything. So when I met my stepsister, she and I took classes to learn how to take care of children. We learned CPR, we learned first aid, and we were certified in everything, and we decided to start our own babysitter business. And that's pretty obvious of who I turned into, a woman who has had so many businesses. I can't even name them all right now, but I've learned a lot in my life, and, just like my brothers and my dad and my sister, we're all entrepreneurs. That just runs through us. So when I was a kid, one of the things that I did besides babysitting was cleaning. My stepmom and my mom were both really good cleaners. They taught me how to do everything, and I was out at the roller skating rink. My mom was part of this group. It was a really great group. I don't know if it still exists. It's called Parents Without Partners, and that's actually how she met my stepdad and how I met my sister. Every Wednesday night, we would go to the roller skating rink, and it was the best day of the week because there were so many people my age, and there was a lot of cute guys there, and we got to roller skate and see our friends and dress up, and it was just so much fun. And my sister, before she was my sister, we were just inseparable, So it was a really great night for us, and there was this guy who was part of Parents Without Partners, and he used to tease the girls a lot in Parents Without Partners. He used to tease me and my sister and our friends, and he had a nickname. His nickname was Trouble, and that was because of the teasing. And I've always had this thing in my gut when I meet someone that I don't trust. It's fear. And we all have that. Gandalf has that. You have that. When you meet someone and you immediately know, I'm not safe in this person's presence, and you feel fear. Well, my mom, being the enterprising woman that she was, wanted me to be very successful in my business, especially my sister and I. We had just started our babysitting business, and besides doing babysitting, we offered cleaning, we offered lawn care. She wanted us to be successful, so during one of the picnics that she and my brother were going to go to, my mom said, well, Trouble needs help with his house. Trouble needs help cleaning his house. So she arranged for me to go help clean his house. So one afternoon, my mom dropped me off, and she went off to a picnic. This is, once again, back in the 80s. No cell phones, okay? My mom was at a picnic, which means there was no way for me to reach her, okay? I was alone with a man who I did not know. He was over 50 years old, okay? Someone that I always had a bad feeling about. When you're raised by a single mom, there's something that you might relate to. You don't want to worry that single mom because you know how much they're going through, how much they're struggling for you. Even if you have two parents but come from a poor family, if If you have a stuffy nose, you have a sore foot, you need new shoes, you really don't want to bug your parents when they're struggling. I can't remember how many pairs of shoes I took whiteout to make my shoes look new so that I wouldn't be bullied in school, so that I didn't have to ask my mom for a new pair of shoes. That's one of the reasons why I started the business, so that I could have money to take care of my own stuff. Even at 9 and 10 years old, I wanted to do it myself. So I showed up, looked around the house. It was a fucking mess. It was the worst. Immediately he starts explaining, I understand this all can't be done in one day. Might have to be done over time, He asks me, are you hungry? Do you want an egg sandwich? I'm like, no, I don't want to eat right now, He's like, you're shaking, you need to eat something, I agree. So he makes me an egg sandwich. I remember still to this day exactly what type of sandwich it was. It's a plain white bread, cooked egg with mayonnaise, salt, and pepper. I, to this day, have a problem eating a sandwich made that exact same way. I eat the sandwich. My stomach hurts. It's a response in my system. We start going through and organizing. I start making piles. I start, sorting. I give him tasks because he says he wants to help. We get through about 3 or 4 hours of things. Every time he gets close to me or tries to touch me, I send him off to do something. And at a certain point, I say to him, look, I need to go home. I do not feel well. My stomach is bothering me. I had spent a lot of time in the bathroom. And for those of you who know me personally, I have IBS. I have Crohn's disease. And yes, when I get stressed out, my stomach acts up. So he agrees to take me home. But during the conversation, he finds out, oh, this money that you are going to make today is supposed to go towards the purchase of clothes for your 6th grade graduation. This is my 6th grade graduation. Now, keep in mind that I started school when I was 4 years old. So I'm a very young 6th grader, okay? So he takes me over to James Way. That's the, Target at the time, And we pick out something, and I used to make friendship bracelets, just like all the other kids in the 80s. And he wants me to make him a friendship bracelet, so I'm like, fine, whatever. He pays for it. He picks out the colors. He takes me back to my trailer, my house, okay? I ask him to leave. I'm like, I'm not feeling well. I'm just going to wait for my mom and brother to come back. I lay on the couch, put my hand over my head. He leans next to me on the couch and tries to start rubbing my stomach. And then he does start rubbing my stomach, and he starts rubbing between my breasts and my lower area. And I say, don't touch me. And he continues to do those things, okay? And he touches my breasts, and he touches my lower area, okay? And I bolt up faster than I've ever bolted before. And I run to my room where I have no lock on the door. And keep in mind, this is a trailer, okay? The walls are thin, okay? They are wood paneled walls, and I start screaming. I hear my mom coming in, and as soon as I know she's in the trailer, I run back to the back of the trailer where there's a bathroom. It's the big bathroom, it's the only bathroom. And there's 2 locks. There's a lock going out to the hallway, and then there's a lock to her bedroom. So I lock the bathroom door. I lock the door to, I lock the door to the bathroom, then I go through to her room and lock her bedroom door. So I have the entire area of her room and the bathroom to keep safe. She gets him to leave somehow. And then she comes and talks to me. And she tells me it's not my fault. She tells me that I've done nothing wrong. But I think to myself, did I dress provocatively? Did I lay on the couch in a way that made him think it was okay to touch me? What did I do wrong? Should I not have been alone with him? Wasn't that my mother's decision? Didn't she drop me off there? I was in elementary school. So my mom told me what happened to her. She sat me on her large brass bed, and she told me that when she was a kid, her brother used to come into her room at night and touch her body. And her sisters couldn't do anything about it. And when they told their parents, do you know what they said? They said, put a dresser against the door. That's what they said, because the brother who was touching them was an all-star athlete. He was the star of the family. He was the guy who got the straight A's. They didn't care. They didn't care at all. And you know what? That's what I see happening right now. What I have a question for you though is, what if that guy had done more to me? What if he raped me? What if he raped me and I lived in Texas right now? What if I was a 9-year-old girl who lived in Texas? How many states would I have to travel to get an abortion to get to Maryland? Where, my friend Auntie Ellen lives and says you can come stay on my couch where you can get an abortion. How many states are from here to Texas? How many states are from Florida to Maryland? I know how many hours it takes to get from Tennessee to Maryland in a car. It takes 13 hours. My mom was my hero because what we did is we exposed trouble. He attacked and raped over 27 girls in Parents Without Partners. He was in jail the rest of his life. And he had kids of his own that he abused that came out. How many girls had to go and get abortions? How many girls are fucked up in the head like me because this nasty man touched them? How many men are allowed to decide that those girls can't get an abortion? What are we going to do? Are we going to let Donald Trump decide? Are we going to let the states decide?
I don't think that his whole let the states decide is anything less than a disguise for trying to get him in office, trying to get him the votes, so that he can then decide to make abortion nationwide illegal. Okay, because he can do that. He can do it with a executive order, and he can undo all of Biden's good work, including the medical insurance that we are on. That man needs to be stopped.
I want to tell you something else. That was only the first time. And you see this large woman here? This woman that has large breasts and a large stomach. That's my protection. That's my psychological protection. Every time you see a large woman walking down the street, that's their body armor. I didn't weigh this much until after I was raped. Until after I was pinned down on a bed and raped. But I won't describe that story for you. That was when I was 16. That would be too much for YouTube. I want you to think about how this is not about politics. I want you to think about your daughters and your sons and about how every single person you know has been abused. Even my husband here, who is not brave enough yet to tell his story.
Well, I'm brave enough.
Do you want to share?
I'll tell a story, yeah. I'm 48 years old. I'm not looking to get with any other women. You know, I don't care if other guys judge me because fuck them. Okay? I was raised by women, for the most part, until my dad put me in a cult church for 2 years. But that's a whole nother story and the reason for my bipolar and all that shit. But anyway, I was 2 years old, and I was really into cars. And this guy offered to give me what looked like a really cool truck if I let him stick his dick in my mouth. And so, not knowing any better at 2 years old, I did. And he actually came in my mouth, and it tasted horrible. Okay? And when I went to pick up the car later, the wheels were all stuck and broken. It was not worth it. It wouldn't have been worth it either way, but it was just a really bad situation. My mom gave me a lollipop. They called the police. You know, I mean, this was 1978. Okay? The year she was born. I was 2 years old, and this fucker thought that he could just use me like that. And his girlfriend was standing there like it was back in his house, like looking on and laughing and shit. Okay? These are horrible people. Anyone who does that to a child deserves to have their nuts cut off. But yeah, I've been through some shit. I had a babysitter that abused me when I was like 5 or 6, or no, 6 or 7, I think. I had that situation when I was 2, and I would tell you right now, it's not about politics, but Donald Trump is exactly the kind of person who would do something like that. Look at what happened with Stormy Daniels.
He will be convicted.
Yeah, I understand he'll be convicted, but will it keep him from being president? Because
probably not.
No, it won't.
Probably
the only thing
not.
that can keep him from being president is you. Vote blue, no matter who. That's the choice there. I don't care about this Gaza shit with Biden. It is still a better option than voting for Trump and having him be a dictator on day one. Okay? Do not vote Republican.
And anyway, Biden has been calling for a ceasefire the entire time.
Yeah, it's not his fault that Netanyahu isn't listening.
And he can't control Hamas.
No.
I mean, the same way he couldn't control Osama bin Laden.
No, exactly.
People need to think about how this actually affects your family. Kitchen table politics. If your friends and your family don't vote to protect you, then you really need to think about who your friends and family are. I have people in my life who are trans, and we do. So many people. And every single day they text me and tell me how afraid they are for their lives. And it is my goal, my mission, Gandalf's goal, Gandalf's mission, and everyone in our company to help people understand why it's so important to protect trans people. We've been working for 2 years.
Not the least of which is they are people.
Exactly.
People need to be protected from other people.
We've been working for 2 years on our friend's memoir, and we don't know when it will be done. But we do know that when it is done, and you read it, you're going to know exactly what she experienced. You're going to feel every emotion that she felt and that she feels when she wakes up every single day. the trauma that she goes through. And it's so important to understand the damage that these people are doing right now. You can't just be like, oh, I don't care, you know? You need to think about your children. You need to think about how there's all these crazy fundamentalist fuckers that are like, I'm pro-life. If you were pro-life, would you be thinking about the experiences that me and Gandalf had, that our family and friends have had?
Not every aborted fetus deserves a chance for life, because some of those people who could have been aborted turned out to be the people who abused us.
And think about this. There was a woman who was not fit to raise a child. She left her baby in a playpen while she went on vacation, and the baby fucking starved. It died because she wasn't right in her head.
Yeah, pro-lifers want you to. They care about. They want live babies to raise them up to be dead soldiers, to quote George Carlin. They don't care about you. Republicans don't give a crap about you unless you are either pre-born or ready to go into the military.
Yeah, that's George Carlin.
That's all they care about. And that's the truth.
This is Content with Courage. This is what we want to share with you. Keep following us. Join us in our journey. We're going to be setting up some pages on our website to share with you the stories that are going to be coming out the rest of this year and that we're working on so that you can stay in touch. But please follow our YouTube. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on TikTok. We're going to keep sharing these stories with you. And pretty soon, you're going to be part of our movement, and you're going to help us fight for our freedoms. We do not want the Handmaid's Tale here. Say it with us. We do not want the Handmaid's Tale here. Fight for your rights. Fight for your have courageous, and let's have content with courage. Let's not be wishy-washy. Let's do this, people. Let's do this.